So experiment 4, the concepts and objectives we must apply are two-dimensional kinematic equations from your lessons in Physics 71. And using these kinematic equations, we want to predict the impact point of a ball as well as describe its trajectory while it is in motion. So, when we consider projectile motion, this is a little bit similar to that of your free fall. In the case of projectile motion, the motion can be decomposed into vertical and horizontal components. So they will have their own kinematic equations that are both functions of time. However, you can also rewrite your kinematic equation sets in terms of each other. So what does this mean? You have x of time and y of time, pero pwede niyong i-combine itong dalawa to have an equation of the form y of x. So kung dito pa lang, pansin nyo, may x squared term ka, which means na, as you would expect, parabola yung magiging itsura ng y of x nyo. So in this experiment, you will use these concepts related na itong range para sagutin yung mga tanong. So sa experiment na ito, website link ang gagamitin ninyo. So pag link nyo ito ay, teka, wait a minute. What happened? Dito sa link na ito pupunta. So, pagdating nyo sa website na ito, you can pick simulations. Ay, ito pala. Click nyo lang to parang video. So, you wait for it to load. Okay, tayin lang natin mag-load. Yon. Pagdating dito, you pick intro. So, ito na yun. Yung experiment nyo this week will consist entirely of playing around with this thing. Ang dami niyong pwedeng galawin dito. Like for example, yung height ng projectile. Ito, nagdadrag lang ako ng left click. Pwede ko madrag yung initial height ng projectile. Pwede ako mag-zoom in, zoom out. Tapos may Michelangelo's David here for scale siguro, I guess. Kasi yung V0 sa initial sa projectile motion, pwede kong baguhin, drag around. If I want to fire a projectile, i-click ko ito, itong red button. Teka, lapitan natin ng konti. Kung gusto erase, yan, i-erase ko lang using the eraser button. Kuha tayo ng malapit-lapit. Okay. Yung isang pinakagagamitin ninyo dito sa experiment na ito ay itong tool na ito. This tells you the time, range, and height at different points in your projectile motion. So, para gamitin ito, tinatapat nyo ito somewhere sa trajectory. So, along the parabolic line. Kung pansin nyo, yung mismong trajectory nyo ay may parang dots along with the lines. Dito lang nagkakaroon ng value yung tracker nyo. So, ayan, wala. Tapos meron ulit. Tapos basta nakatapat sa dot, doon ka magkakaroon ng data point na specific. Pwede rin kayong mag-measure ng distance. So let's say from here, gusto ko i-measure yung range nitong maliit. Pwede kong i-drag around itong tape measure ko. to get a range of 9.25 meters. More or less. Sana po ang pwede kong baguhin dito. Pwede ako maglagay ng air resistance. Tapos magka-fire lang ako ulit. Anong mag-iiba? So makita mo, may iba agad oh. It's color purple and iba yung trajectory. So ayun, explore nyo na lang. Pero di naman siya ganun karami. So let's go to the procedure. So basically, yung procedure naman ay dinemonstrate ko lang naman sa inyo. So anong mga pinakita ko? So dragging the base to change the height, eraser tool, click the red button to fire. Itong crosshairs, ito yung primary feature na gamitin niyo for the entire experiment. Tape measure, air resistance. Ito number 8. Real-time visualization of velocity and acceleration vectors. Actually, di nyo gagamitin to. Pero just for as an example, pwede nyo makita yung components ng velocity and acceleration as you fire your projectiles. Isa pa. So yan, may mga arrow components lang. It's nice to know, although di nyo naman kailangan for this experiment yan. So, part 1, part 2, may specific instructions dito. Set V naught to 0 and initial height to 0. So you will drag your cannon mouth to change the initial angle. And you will do various angles for different initial velocities. Ang i-record ninyo, time, range, and height using the crosshair tool. So, ito na yun. Part 2 naman, it's a similar thing. Pakita ko mamaya yung data. This part 3 is graphical analysis. So, you will use knowledge you should have gotten from doing experiment 3. So, you will have superimposed plots. And just like with experiment 3, gusto ko sana na properly labeled ang lahat and you follow the instructions in the graphing of experiment 3. So, may best fit line ka with an equation and an R squared. So, madali lang naman yan based dun sa settings ng Microsoft Excel. So, dun sa mismong data, ito na yung tables natin. So, makikita nyo, you will measure the range sa table 1 for different sets of angles and different sets of initial velocities. So, yung angle, you drag this around. You drag the cannon around. Kita nyo na yung angle reading dito. So, ganun lang naman siya tinatoggle. In increments of 5 naman gumagalaw yan. Tapos table 2, X and Y naman ang i-measure ninyo. I think kaya din naman to dito. So you have, limbawa, for this trajectory here, may range and height ka naman for each dot on the trajectory. Which means, si range mo dito, bawat range mo ay ang magiging X value and ang bawat height ay ang magiging Y value. So just follow the settings for each table and according to the instructions to get the data points. And of course, you'll just have to plot yung mga nakuha niyo sa tables 1 and 2. Again, superimposed. So pagpatupatungin lang lahat sa isang graph. Note na yung x-axis niyo dito ay sine 2 theta. So, how do you get sine 2 theta? Well, you have your angle. So, if you feed nyo sa sine function, yung angles ninyo. So, questions. So, questions 1 and 2, they just discuss your equations 4 and 5, which is yung kinematic formulas nyo na y of x. And of course, number 3, anong epekto ni air resistance. So, that's it. It's a short discussion lang. So, any questions? Wala
Wala
naman.
po, sir.
Ay,
Wala.
meron pala. None? Okay. So, as usual, you can use the rest of the time to do the experiment. And kung may questions kayo, kailangan kong i-off yung Zoom ngayon. So, sa Discord na lang, either PM or voice chat or whatever. And reminder ko lang, si experiments 1, 2, and 3, sa Sabado ng midnight ang deadline. So, try nyo ihabol before then. Pero si experiment 4, matagal pa deadline ito. So, I think that's it. So, thank you guys for coming. And good luck sa experiments kung gagawin niyo na. Kung
Okay, sir. Thank you.
yeah, kung wala nang tanong, yeah, adjourn na tayo.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.